Learning just is natural for us. The problem with formal education is people often learn the things we don't want them to learn.
And it does ultimately involve us rethinking what the partnership between teacher and learner is.
What we've realised we want to create in the workplace is a learning environment, and to do that we need our managers to see themselves as teachers.
Spring 2013. Leaders and managers from the FE and skills sector gather at the ELSIS Leadership and Management Conference to explore how effective leadership can support and develop outstanding learning.
Learning is a natural process for human beings. We learn all the time.
Professor Susan Hallam has been researching how learners learn best. The key challenge for leaders is getting the learning culture right for students and staff throughout the organisation.
Learning is motivated best when people are what we call intrinsically motivated, when they want to do it because they get enjoyment out of that particular task. But what is absolutely clear, and it's really unfortunate, teachers can't learn for their students. The learner has got to engage with the learning process. Teachers need to be enthusiastic in order to motivate their students, and they're much more likely to do that if they're in a college or any kind of institution environment which is also very supportive. Ultimately, if you really want to improve learning, you have got to align the goals of the different groups of people involved. That includes learners, it includes teachers, and it includes the institutions.
If your learners are going to have a good learning experience and they're going to do their best, they need the best staff to do that.
For Julie Sizer, uniting the vision and values amongst staff was vital to develop an organisational culture focused on learning.
One of the first things that I had to do when I sort of took over the organisation was to perhaps look at a new vision for that organisation. It was very twee. It was in a position where if we didn't start to grow, then we would have died, basically. Your starting point is to make sure that you are all working to the same vision, that you do have all the same values. So I think it's sitting down and agreeing as an organisation what you hope to achieve as a team, and then looking at those areas for improvement and then saying, well, how do we work together to do this? Then what I hope to do is inspire the team to achieve the outcomes that we hope we are going to achieve, and also to grow the organisation. And we asked all the staff to take ownership. What values do we all want to aspire to? All staff are learners, you know, throughout the whole process of the time that they're with us. And if their skills and expertise and knowledge is up to date, then obviously they can then pass that on to the learners, and make sure that they're getting the best learning experience that they possibly can.
Over the last 20 years, Professor Lorna Unwin has been researching the most effective approaches to learning in the workplace, including colleges and training providers. Getting the management culture right is crucial.
All workplaces have the potential to create and sustain what I call an expansive learning environment. The expansive characteristics would include, for example, giving employees time as part of the working day to talk to each other, to share ideas.
For Lorna, management should be seen as a form of pedagogy.
We need our managers to understand how learning takes place, how to foster it and nurture it. And if you're in charge of the organisation or you have senior responsibility, you should work in a collaborative way yourself. So you should give every opportunity to ensure that you delegate responsibility to allow people to show their potential. We need managers to think of themselves much more in a tutoring type role, to give very good constructive feedback, to give regular feedback, and to involve their employees just as a good teacher or tutor would involve their students, to involve their employees in decision making and to involve them in dialogue.
We're talking here about changing a culture and how can we best support students in their transition.
By creating greater opportunities for dialogue between senior leaders and staff, Sussex Downs College has started to focus everyone's attention on learning.
I think a lot of teachers can fairly quickly come to conclude that senior management don't really appreciate the nature of the challenge or the work that they're doing if there isn't direct contact. It's opening up a dialogue so that a teacher can feel that if they talk to a member of the senior management about a challenge that they're facing, that they will have some understanding of that, and that there's some point in doing that. Secondly, I think it's about developing a sense of mutual trust. And the crucial thing that we are promoting in the college at the moment is what we call peer development teams. And this is the idea that people learn most effectively together. Just as we see with our students, we want to see with our staff too. So stimulating learning conversations, having peer development projects where people are working together on trying to improve some aspect of their practice. Leadership is less about telling and more about inspiring and engaging and supporting and modelling. I think that what we have now is a recognition that a wide range of us have responsibility for leading. Leadership isn't vested solely in those who've got that title.
We need far more people to understand the way people learn. If you think of the workplace as a learning environment, then you will create the conditions in which new ideas are fostered, poor practices are challenged. You can improve what you do through capitalising on the strengths of your staff.